Welcome to LC Screen Talk. My name is Larry, and this is my recap and review of the 22nd Annual Critics' Choice Awards. So the Critics' Choice Awards has pretty much immediately followed all of these different lists that have come out and the winners of the individual critic groups naming their awards. And it comes right before we get our Golden Globe and SAG nominations later this week. But the Critics' Choice Awards is pretty iffy on how it actually indicates who we're going to see win come Oscar time. Because so much of the Oscar voting body is not part of a critic group, this award is kind of just a reflection of the Rotten Tomatoes guild. Let's just start this off with TJ Miller. So he hosted last year, he hosted this year, he got arrested just like 2 days ago. So it's been a whirlwind for TJ Miller. He's had a pretty successful year at the box office, obviously with Deadpool, and then just now with Office Christmas Party, doing pretty well for an opening weekend. But I have to say, I thought he was a pretty terrible host. Throughout the entirety of the award show, he had maybe 3 or 4 good, solid jokes land, but that opening number was very, very strange, where he came out with his stomach painted and all these other things just kind of wiggling around. It was very odd and left everybody just kind of oh, great. And the rest of his opening monologue was also very odd. He landed one good Donald Trump joke in there, and I think overall what he was getting at about, celebrities not using their platforms to talk or whatever he was saying was well-intentioned, but again, it was is this a joke? Are you serious? This all is a very weird and awkward tone for us to listen to, so it just didn't work for me. Not to mention that weird, mutton chops, Fu Manchu style mustache beard he's got going on is horrible. I mean, it's really, really bad and ugly. So it's hard to take him seriously at all with that ridiculous facial hair. The fashions at the Critics' Choice Awards were really strange. I think it was an odd mixture. It was somewhere between, super relaxed, MTV Movie Awards, and then the Met Gala. These outfits were not your conventional award show attire. A lot of these celebrities came in really out there, kind of experimental looks. It was a very weird red carpet, and that leaves me with very few best dressed choices. One thing I enjoyed were that the men really stepped it up and thought outside the box for this award show. Of course, there were plenty of just black and white tuxedos, as always, but there was a lot of color. And I think the one that was most successful, but still didn't quite get there, was James Marsden. I thought the print and the design was really cool on the suit he wore. It was just too much. So I wish he would have kept the awesome sports coat and done just a black pant with the black shirt. It would have looked amazing. But as it stood, it was a risk. He really stood out. It didn't quite work, but it was a risk that I think mostly paid off. I also thought RuPaul, Mama Ru, looked great on the red carpet. I would have ditched that crazy hat. But if you watch RuPaul's Drag Race, you know RuPaul loves those ridiculous hats. But that's the part I would have ditched there. And then we had Milo, I can't say his last name, from This Is Us and from Heroes and all that fun stuff. Again, so close to looking amazing. And then he wore this weird tie with this ugly dot in the middle of his chest that pretty much just ruined the whole look. It was fantastic, other than that weird misplaced red dot. I also hate that facial hair on Milo, so there's that too. As for the ladies, I think Viola Davis looked gorgeous. For me, this was kind of her night to shine. She won some big awards. Her acceptance speeches were just amazing. She's magical. She's wonderful. And I think this seafoam teal color just looked wonderful on her. She looked gorgeous. My next best dressed options are a little bit more controversial. They actually stepped outside the box a bit. But I really liked how Kate Beckinsale looked. She looked the part. I liked where the embellishments were placed. She just looked gorgeous. So it was a risk, but I think one that mostly paid off. Same with Bella Thorne. It was very risque, but hey, she's a young lady. She can pull it off. She has the body. I just love that she stuck to her age and she wore something cool, something edgy, and I thought she pulled it off very well. I also think Emma Stone looked gorgeous. It was a really simple black dress. It had just enough texture on the top and just enough texture on the bottom with those little cutouts on the side. I thought she really pulled it off well. But really, the rest of the red carpet was mostly a mess. But the worst dress was by far John Travolta. I just don't understand it. I was like, what the heck? This coat is it-feeling. It looks horrible on you. I didn't like it, John Travolta. I thought you looked horrible. And then for the ladies, there was like a compilation of people I didn't really know who they were that just looked horrible. But for the names, what were you doing, Nicole Kidman? It almost worked. It kind of looked good. But that cutout section, it looked weird. It just was a very weird ensemble. Kaylee Cuoco looked a fool. Like, it was just horrible. I love Sarah Paulson. And her outfit would have been really nice if it was just a solid dress. But instead it was this weird two-piece set, and the top just had this really weird, like, white tire wrapped around her midsection that I can't understand. In what fashion world is it flattering to just strap a big old tire around your stomach? Michelle Monaghan? Yay, credit for trying something a little bit different, but this was just a poorly executed mess. I was like, oh my gosh. She looked like she kind of rummaged through the wardrobe department from The Witch and then just like sliced it down and tied it here. It just was an ill-fitting, weird dress. I didn't understand it. For me, Janelle Monáe falls in the middle. From here all the way down, I thought she looked great. I loved the checkered pattern. I loved the design. What I didn't love were those little giraffe nubs on the top of her head. I was like, oh, girl, just push that together and make it one bun or do something else. Those little nubs. I was like, ugh. But she looked great otherwise. Chrissy Metz, dear, you don't have to look like this. Bigger girls can dress well. They can be gorgeous. And instead she put on this horrible print. I mean, it looked like she just grabbed Nana's curtains and wrapped them around her. Grabbed that nasty couch cushion and shoved her body into it. It was just horrible. But the worst dress to me has to be Sarah Hyland. Again, another really young, beautiful woman, and she went with a simple black dress. When executed well, usually won't get you on like the top dress of the week, but certainly is safe enough to keep you out of the middle. However, when it's an ill-fitting, like weird sports jacket, just kind of like with a zipper in the front that hangs down past your knees, it looked horrible. Like, this is the definition of a trash bag dress. It didn't fit her in the slightest, and you can't go like ill-fitting and super simple. So now let's go ahead and discuss the winners tonight. So we're only going to talk movie awards, and just a lot of it we're going to go over briefly and generally. So I have to admit, when I was making my own predictions, didn't really do the research that I usually do heading into these award shows. I've never really paid too much attention to the Critics' Choice Awards in the past, so I didn't do necessary work. In some cases, that helped me. In some cases, that hurt me making my predictions. So we started off the night with Best Acting Ensemble. I was so happy Moonlight won. I didn't think it was going to win, but I had hoped it was when you go back and watch that prediction video. So I was super happy about that. However, Moonlight only won one other award, and that was Best Supporting Actor for Mahershala Ali, who was amazing, and I was super happy to see win. I'm just kind of disappointed Moonlight wasn't able to sneak a couple of those technical awards as well, so it was a little disappointing. For Best Young Actor or Actress, Lucas Hedges from Manchester by the Sea got the victory, one of many awards that film took home. And I think that it definitely cemented itself as the frontrunner for the Oscars. But speaking of, wow, how crazy was it that Best Original Screenplay split? They tied between La La Land and Manchester. So, interesting race forming there with Arrival winning Adapted. Arrival also won for Best Sci-Fi or Horror, just kind of further cementing to me this category should be split up. I predicted 10 Cloverfield Lane, but I don't know what I was thinking. Clearly Arrival was going to win this, and kind of snubbed the great horror films that were there. Speaking of movies kind of hijacking categories, nobody is shocked, but Hacksaw Ridge wins Best Action Film, and Andrew Garfield wins Best Actor in an Action Film. I kind of said my piece on that. Don't think it really qualifies as action to me, but we'll leave that there. And then we had Margot Robbie win for Best Actress in an Action Film. But, I mean, as you saw by the list of nominees, Gal Gadot got in there with like 10 minutes total screen time in Batman v Superman. This is a problem, Hollywood. We really need to get more females in good roles in action. And then we move over into comedy. Another movie I feel kind of hijacked the category. This time it was Deadpool, who I was shocked actually took home Best Comedy. I know it was well received and well reviewed, but I definitely thought one of the more, serious, highbrow comedy films would sweep it, and they didn't. Deadpool took the Big Home Award and also won for Best Actor with Ryan Reynolds. And then Miss Streep deservedly took home the award for Best Actress in a Comedy. When it came to the technical awards, there were no surprises. La La Land just kind of swept through, including score and editing and production design. And then Best Song went to City of Stars. Very well deserved. Personally, I would have given it to Audition. But, we knew La La Land was going to win Best Song one way or the other. And then Best Costume Design and Best Hair and Makeup both went to Jackie. Also, not big surprises. Best Visual Effects, I was very happy to see went to The Jungle Book. That's who I wanted to win, and that's definitely who I think deserved the victory. So super happy about that. Then heading over to Best Animated Film, Zootopia won, which I pretty much knew it was going to. And again, that kind of shows that has really bucked the trend throughout the Critics Award season. So we're starting to move toward the Oscars, where I think films like Zootopia have a great chance of winning. And then Best Director, Damien Chazelle, I think very well deserved. I think he was the best director. Again, Barry Jenkins has actually been sweeping most of the critic group awards, so this bucked the trend, and here we are. So Supporting Actress went to Viola Davis. Can't comment too much other than the fact that I love her, and I think her speeches for both this and for the inaugural See Her Award were just so amazing. I mean, this woman is amazing. She is a fantastic actress. I may just be devastated if she doesn't take home the Oscar this year. She needs it. She deserves that award. And then, as I already mentioned, Supporting Actor went to Mahershala Ali. Great role there, so no complaints for me. Then we look at Best Actress. Natalie Portman wins, which, again, as we're rounding into Oscar season, I think she is going to cement herself as the clear frontrunner, even though she hasn't won most of the critic group awards. So, Natalie Portman looking kind of strange. I wasn't sure how I felt about that oversized dress she wore. It was pretty. It just was weird. So, regardless, she was amazing in the film and deserves the award. Then we get to Best Actor. Winning was Casey Affleck, who I should have known was going to win. I'm going to make a whole other video on Casey Affleck because it's going to make me feel real yucky all the way through award season as he continues to sweep through and win these awards. And it's another situation where I'm at a constant battle with myself because I also think he gave the best performance this year so far. I just have a real personal problem with the way Hollywood works. And then taking home top prize of the night, Best Picture, was La La Land. Not a big surprise. I predicted maybe Moonlight would sneak in there if you watch my video, but I love La La Land. Very well deserved and pretty much the front runner going into the Oscars. For being an award show all about critics, it's really a hot mess. Like, as you're sitting there watching it, it's somewhere between like MTV Movie Awards and the Golden Globes in actual quality level in the production. I mean, it's aired on A&E. But this is kind of my first year really paying attention to it. It was fun to kind of kick things off early. Usually the Critics' Choice Awards are in January. But now we're really kicking into the awards I'm super interested in. I know people like to make fun of the Golden Globes, but I'll be there covering those, the SAG Awards, and of course the Oscars. So get ready. This was the starting point for the real serious award season to kick in. So what did you think of the Critics' Choice Awards? Let me know down below. Did you agree with the winners? Did anything shock you? Any winners surprise you? What did you think of the fashions, the very off-the-wall fashions that took place? And what did you think of TJ Miller as a host? I want to know. So let's discuss in the comments down below or hit me up on Twitter. I love you all so much for your support. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!